What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. Yo, what's good? This is your boy, Tone DeShields II. You guys are locked in on another dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you guys are commenting below, especially if you are not watching it live. I appreciate all of my viewers, whether you're watching it live, whether you're watching on your own time, whether you're listening on Spotify or checking us out on Apple Podcasts. The content is available wherever you need it, whenever you need it. So make sure you guys always stay locked in. Give me a 5-star rating. Hit that like button. Make sure you're active in the live chat. And also make sure you guys comment below whether you agree, disagree, you got an opinion on what we're talking about. I love all of that. I'm pretty engaged in that comment section. So make sure you guys stay locked in on the content. It means a lot to me. Goes a long way. On top of that, make sure you guys take advantage of that SeatGeek promo code, man. $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Promo code Chalk It Up Sports. All you got to do is download the app, create a profile with SeatGeek, find the tickets or find the event you want to go to. Use that promo code. You'll get $20 off your first SeatGeek order. All right? So make sure you guys take advantage of it. And it's straight like that. Now, one more day. A little over 24 hours until we get to the NFL draft. A little over 24 hours, right? I think the draft starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow evening. So I'm really excited about that. Me and my man, Coach Marcus from Pro Fan Talk, are going to do a collaboration show like we always do every week, but we're going to do a draft show for you guys on day one of the draft. So I believe we're going to start live streaming around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, 30 minutes before the draft starts. So make sure you guys lock in with us tomorrow. And also tonight, I'm going to be live at the Link Up featuring Simone Stanley, Lord Brunson, and myself. We're going to give you guys your weekly dose of the Link Up podcast, giving you your weekly dose of Eagles talk. Sometimes we stay on the rails. Sometimes we go off the rails. But make sure you guys lock in tonight on the Link Up YouTube channel. I'm going to be live with Lord Brunson and Simone Stanley. And we're going to be doing a mock draft tonight. So it should be really exciting. You guys. I also have a special plan for us today. Not only are we going to do a mock draft, we're going to do a bracket NFL Draft Bracket Challenge, a bracket predictor challenge. And this is my first time doing something like this, so we're going to have some fun with it. And I can't wait to show it to you guys because basically, you guys know how a March Madness bracket works, right? You guys know how a tournament bracket works. Basically, what I did was I put a bunch of players that there's a strong possibility the Eagles will pick in the first round, players that probably could fall to us. I put a bunch of those players on a bracket, and I'm going to allow you guys. I'm going to allow you guys to choose or at least vote on which players make it to the next stage or the next level of the bracket. We're going to save that for the second half of the show. For the first half of the show, we're going to get through our mock draft 6.0. And the first mock draft, or the first thing we're going to do today, again, the mock draft, we're going to allow the computer to make the picks. You know, for all the mock drafts, we've been making the picks. I've been making the picks, right? This go around, I'm going to let the computer choose every single pick. I'm going to allow the AI to choose every single pick for the Philadelphia Eagles and every other team as well. And we're going to live with the results. Because also I want to make sure I got time to get to that bracket. And I also pretty much made my declaration for who I think the Philadelphia Eagles will pick on draft night. I actually took it a step further, and I predicted who I think they're going to pick with their first 3 picks of the NFL draft. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys tune into that video I posted. I think I posted it yesterday in regards to the leaked Eagles draft picks. Make sure you guys tune into that video. I've given you guys my prediction on who I think the Philadelphia Eagles would choose with their first 3 picks of the draft on the first 2 days of the NFL draft. So the content is there for you guys to lock in on. Make sure you guys lock in. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys get comfortable and get your fill. Get your fill because draft night is tomorrow, the moment of truth. Nonetheless, let's get into it, okay? Now, on our last mock draft, our mock draft 5.0, we walked away with Malachi Starks, the safety out of Georgia in the first round, Kyle Kennard, edge rusher from South Carolina in the 3rd round. In the 4th round, we got Savion Jones, edge rusher out of LSU. In the 5th round, we got Ty Robinson, D tackle out of Nebraska. Also in the 5th, we got Jalen Rivers, offensive lineman out of Miami, Florida. In the 6th rounds, we got Luke Lachey, tight end out of Iowa. And we also got cornerback Jalen Smith out of USC. So that was our mock draft 5.0. Let's get to our 6.0 mock draft. Again, for this mock draft, our final mock draft, I'm not going to be making any selections. I'm going to allow the AI, the computer, to make all the selections for us. That's the catch for this one. The first mock draft, I didn't do any trades, and then we did a lot of trades after that. This mock draft, on the other hand, we're going to allow the computer to make the picks for us. So let's get into it. We're not going to waste any time, you guys. All right. And this is going to be a 7-rounder as well. Let's refresh that page. Sorry, you guys, going through a little technical difficulty. Give me 1 second. All right, let's try this again. All right. There we go. All right. Let me bring this up on screen. Make sure you guys smash that like button. All right. Make sure we got the speed on fast because I don't want to be sitting here all day waiting for the computer. All right. Let's bring this up. All right, let's get it done. All right, and we're off. Let's see who the Philadelphia Eagles end up picking. Wow, it doesn't even let me look at the Eagles picks. This is going pretty fast. All right. We're letting that go. Oh, man. Andrew says, oh, man, this is going to be rough, like a Chip Kelly draft. Andrew also says, I feel like if Malachi Starks or Walter Nolan don't fall to 32, Howie's trading out. Yeah, I think Howie's going to choose Walter Nolan. That's how things are going to go. I really think Howie's going to choose Walter Nolan. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see if they could get me team specific. All right, here we go. So there we go. All right. The Philadelphia Eagles, here are their draft picks. Wow. This isn't a corner, an edge rusher, 2 DTs, 2 guards, and a corner. Those first 3 picks aren't bad. Those first 4 picks aren't bad, if I'm being honest. I mean, I don't see them coming out of this draft without a tight end, though. That's my only concern. I don't see them picking 2 guards. I don't see them picking 2 DTs either. So, yeah, I mean, again, the first three picks are pretty strong, and then it kind of gets a little funky. I just can't see not grabbing a safety or not grabbing any sort of tight end in this draft. I don't see that. I have a hard time not seeing that. As Bun, I agree with you. There is a plethora of some unnecessary redundancy. I agree with you 100%. Like this was unnecessary. You got 2 guards, 2 D tackles. Like that was pointless, if you ask me, especially the 2 guards. Let's run this back again. Because again, I just have a hard time believing they walk out of this draft without a tight end or a safety. Let's run this back. Even though the first 3 picks are solid, I like the first 3 picks, but yeah. Let's try this again. All right. Restart. Make sure we got it on fast. 7-round mock draft. All right. Let's go. All right. Like Landon Jackson, he's a good player out of Arkansas. Trey Amos played on a very good defense. I actually have him on my bracket. But if you guys don't know already, I've committed to who I think the Eagles are going to pick in this draft. I think the Eagles are going to try to get Walter Nolan in the first round. I think in the second round, they're going to get Oladipo, the edge rusher out of UCLA. And in the third round, I think they're going to get the guard out of Georgia, Dylan Fairchild. That's not to say they won't walk away without a tight end in this draft, but they may go later. All right, here we go again. Let's see what they got. So, once again, no tight end. So, in this one, they got the Eagles selecting Josh Connolly Jr. in the first round, tackle out of Oregon. Wide receiver Jalen Royals out of Utah State. Dylan Fairchild, okay. I had the Eagles picking him in the third round. That's the guard out of Georgia. Jonas Sanker, safety. Running back Damian Martinez out of Miami. Holland Pierce, tackle out of Rutgers. They're not going to draft 3 offensive tackles. They're not doing that. Holland Pierce and Anthony Belton. I mean, they've invited Anthony Belton for a top 30 visit, but they're not going to select 3 offensive tackles. They're not. I'm not understanding this redundancy that the that the AI does. I don't understand that. If we're but it's still redundant. It's very redundant. Like, I like Josh Connolly as a player. Jalen Royals, I like him as a player. Dylan Fairchild, I like that player. Jonas Sanker, safety out of Virginia, 6 feet, 206 pounds. I like the Highland Pierce pick. I like the Riley Mills pick. I just feel like they're overdoing it with tackle. And as Blunt brought up a very good point, he said here the AI is basing it off of current roster holes and it's not factoring in Goedert. True. That's a good point. That's probably what it's not doing. All right, let's see. I think one of you guys said try PFF. It has a better AI. Let me see something. Let's see. The thing about PFF, they only let you go 3 rounds if you don't pay for it, which is a little annoying. No, I'm not going with that. I guess I could because I made those predictions. So let's just see what it does. Let's just see what PFF does. Because again, I don't have PFF. I don't pay for it. So let's see what it does. Why not? You got to pick a team. Nah, see, I don't want to do that. Anyway, let's try this again. Mm. All right. Someone says that you, Chip. Sure, right. Says maybe the AI is predicting injuries or something, and it thinks we need more all O-line depth. That's the only explanation. Yeah, it could be factoring Lane Johnson being, a year older. I'm not entirely sure. All right, we're done. Let's see what they did. Oh, wow. Okay, so this one has the Eagles trading up. Check this out. This one had the Philadelphia Eagles trading up to pick 28. Let's see what we got here. Oh, okay. Now, here's the problem with this one. No D tackle selection. These selections are more balanced, but there's no D tackle. And you got one too many guards, if you ask me. You got one too many offensive linemen. James Pierce, they traded up for him. They sent pick 32 and a 2026 second rounder to move up 4 spots to get James Pierce Jr. Wyatt Millum, he's actually somebody the Philadelphia Eagles have brought in for a top 30 visit. Then they followed it up with offensive tackle Logan Brown out of Kansas, cornerback Quincy Riley out of Louisville, quarterback Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon, He's a small guy. Guard, Luke Kandra out of Cincinnati. Cornerback, Zah Frazier out of the University of Texas, San Antonio. Mitchell Evans, tight end out of Notre Dame. Mitchell Evans, 6'5", 258, has a raw athletic score of 7.25. A reliable physical tight end who thrives as both a blocker and a possession receiver. He plays with toughness and technique, making him a dependable asset in the run game and in pass protection. Okay, not mad at that. Not mad at that. Again, I think they're going a little too offensive line heavy. They're going a little too offensive line heavy. This is better, but, let's see what we got here. KGK says that's solid. Andrew says, trade up for a locker room cancer. This ain't Dallas. Sweet Chin Music says, I only like the first pick here. No safety, no sale. I still say coverage safety is a must. Okay. We're going to do this one more time, and then we're going to get to our bracket challenge. Our bracket challenge is going to be really fascinating. And this is going to require you guys to be fully engaged. So make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are active because we're going to have to do polls for this one. All right. Let's do this one more time. All right. Sweet Chin Music says, I saw they snuck a visit with Kevin Winston Jr. You talking about the Eagles or you talking about the Rams? Michael DeJean says, why did you have the quarterback? You traded Kenny Pick. I mean, I don't see them drafting a quarterback personally. I don't. Eagles. Okay, you talking about Eagles. Yeah, Kevin Winston Jr. I like him. You guys put me on him. You guys put me on. I can't front about that. All right, let's see what we got. Wow. Okay, so this one had the Eagles trading back. Wow. Fascinating. All right, let's see. Let's go to round two. Wait, let me see let me see how this thing went. So, okay. Bengals traded back to pick 30. Then they traded back again to pick 32. Interesting. Let me go back. They traded up. Let me make sure I got this correct. Okay, they traded up. They traded back and then they traded. Okay, so they wanted to get 2 draft picks. Let's go to the second round. See how this thing went. All right, here it is. So, wow. What the fuck? Why so many edge rushers? This is silly. 1, 2, 3, 4 edge rushers, 5 edge rushers. What the fuck? Jalen Royals, wide receiver out of Utah State, has a raw athletic score of 901, 6 feet, 205 pounds. I like Oluwafemi Oladipo. I like Marcus Baun. Like the first 5 picks are like you know what's so crazy though? You know what's annoying about these picks more than anything? These are actually talented players. But why would the Eagles draft 5 edge rushers? believe it or not, like, this is probably the most talented group that we've drafted thus far. But why the fuck are we drafting 5 edge rushers? Makes 0 sense. Like, seriously, I could make an argument. This is a pretty talented group here. But 5 edge rushers? Come on, man. And only 1 offensive lineman drafted? That's this is crazy. How many players is this? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're not drafting 10 players. This is nuts. This is nuts. Those first 5 picks, not bad. But damn. All right. Okay. Let's get to our bracket challenge here. All right. Buckle up, you guys. This is going to be fun. This is going to be very fun. So, this is my Eagles draft predictor bracket. So, this is what we're going to do here. This is how it's going to go. There are 8 players here. There are 8 players. And this is based off of the first round or who I think the first pick for the Philadelphia Eagles will be. These are my 8 most likely selections. I think the Eagles, even though, again, I've committed to Walter Nolan. I believe Walter Nolan will be the pick tomorrow night. That's what I think. I think Walter Nolan will be the pick. But this is for you guys. I want you guys to be active in this thing, okay? So this is how this is going to go. The Malachi Starks pick is going to go up against the Trey Amos pick. The Walter Nolan pick is going to go up against the Nick Scorton pick. The Donovan Iziraku edge rusher pick is going to go up against Josh Connolly at offensive line. And James Pierce is going to go up against Tylik Williams. So we're playing the probability game here. We're playing the odds here. You guys are going to make the choices. So, and then we're going to land, and then we're really going to land on who we believe is going to be the pick. So let me get this thing going here. So we're starting with the first matchup: Malachi Starks versus Trey Amos. And again, this when you make your decision, when you cast your vote, you got to factor in how they'll get the player, the likelihood of them getting the player, things of that nature. Okay. All right. Let's see here. All right. Sorry, you guys. I'm making this thing as we go. Okay. All right, here we go. The first survey has been posted. So Malachi Starks versus Trey Amos. You guys had to vote on this, okay? You guys got to vote on this. Now, remember, Malachi Starks, talented guy out of Georgia, 6'1", 197 pounds, has an 87.3 player rating. He's the 6th ranked DB in this draft. We're in a 4.5 40-yard dash time. We're in a 4.5 40, a 1.51 10-yard split. Malachi Starks. The tape reveals a defensive project or prospect whose elite run defense mastery masks some limitations in coverage, while Starks flashes in zone and can recover with rare athleticism. His current coverage technique and instincts lag behind his ability to demolish run plays. He struggles transitioning against shifty slots and occasional lapses in zone discipline raise valid questions about his ceiling as a complete defensive back. Trey Amos, 6'1", 195. Has an 86.2 player rating, is the 9th ranked DB in this draft class. We're in a 4.4 340. 3 interceptions, 13 pass defense. Let's check this out here. Okay, I'm looking at this bracket right now. It's pretty close. Listen, we have 57 people watching right now. I need at least 50 picks. I need at least 50 votes before I make the decision. Remember, whoever you guys vote for will make it to round 2. We'll make it to round 2 of our Eagles draft predictor bracket. We need 30 more votes. Malachi Starks is winning by a landslide right now. We need 30 more votes. Make sure you guys smash that like button. We got 22 right now. Right now, it's Malachi Starks by a landslide. It was pretty balanced at first until the most recent picks. Let's see here. If you're just joining the live stream, we're doing an Eagles draft predictor bracket. So we're basically doing this March Madness style, tournament style. You guys are going to vote for each matchup. And whoever wins the matchup via the vote will move on to the next round. Let's see where we are with these votes here. 26 votes. Malachi Starks is you guys really like Malachi Starks. Hey, Big Pickin', it's considering whatever you want to consider. This is the first pick of the draft. This is however you see it going. So don't think too hard about this. This isn't that complex. This is considering who we believe or who I believe will be available or who the Philadelphia Eagles have a chance of getting. So these are your options. These are realistic options, no matter what they do. If they trade up, if they trade back a little bit, these are realistic options. So this is whatever you want it to be. You vote however you see fit. The first matchup right now is Malachi Starks versus Trey Amos. And right now, Malachi Starks is winning by a landslide. I already made my pick of who I think is going to be the Eagles selection. If you guys didn't get around to it, make sure you guys check out that video I posted yesterday about the Eagles draft picks being leaked. I think the Eagles are going to select Walter Nolan. I think they're going to find a way to get him. All right, we got 27 votes. I have a hard time believing that Trey Amos is going to be able to catch up. Andrew says Walter Nolan better sweep the board. Humble Servant says, hey, just a heads up, Justin Wiley, cornerback from Minnesota, is really good. Eagles had him in for a top 30 visit. Yeah, we were talking about that, I think, on Monday. I think it was Monday, I believe. We were talking about him coming in for a top 30 visit. All right, we got 29 votes. It's looking like Malachi Starks is the guy y'all running away with. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's 80-20 right now. Yeah. So I think we're going to, before I end this survey, if you didn't get a chance to vote, make sure you vote. We got 30 votes in. We got over 60 people on the live stream. I think I'm going to cap it off at 30 votes. I think 30 votes is going to be our threshold here. I think 30 votes will be our threshold. So we made it to 30 votes. 80% of you select Malachi Starks to go to the next round. Trey Amos didn't make the cut, and this was posted for 6 minutes. Yeah, this is a runaway. All right. All right, here we go. Malachi Starks. Malachi Starks goes to the next round. All right. I don't need that. That's annoying. Anyway, all right. Malachi Starks makes it to the next round. Let's get our next one. All right, so we're going to end this poll. Time for our next one. All right, next up we have Walter Nolan and Nick Scorton. And Nick Scorton. All right, here we go. Here's our next one, you guys. All right, the next matchup, we have Walter Nolan, D tackle, and Nick Scorton, edge rusher. Let's see how you guys vote on this one. All right. 18 votes does. Oh, y'all voting fast. 18 votes in. Walter Nolan is running away with it. Damn. I mean, I'm a Walter Nolan guy too. Don't get it twisted. That's crazy. These votes flying in fast. All right, we got 25 votes in. Walter Nolan has 88% of the votes. This is crazy. Let's see. As Blunt says, I like this bracket challenge. Hey, yeah, by the way, you guys, give me a thumbs up if you guys like this challenge. Give me a thumbs up if you guys like this. I figured I'd do something like this. I want to give a shout out to PNP, the Panthers Nation podcast. I want to give a shout out to those guys. I was watching their live stream last night, and I saw them doing this for the Carolina Panthers. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the PNP podcast. Are you guys familiar with PNP, the Panthers Nation podcast? I saw them doing this last night, and I said, you know, this is a pretty good idea. So I want to make sure I give them their flowers. They definitely gave me the idea for this. I was just chilling, came across their stream, and I said, hey, this is actually pretty good. So So yeah, shout out to the PNP podcast, Panthers Nation. Shout out to those guys. They do great work. Have a huge following covering Carolina Panthers too. Huge following. All right, bet. Let's get it. I like it. All right, we got 30 votes thus far. Woo! Walter Nolan, 90-10. That's crazy. It makes me wonder who chose Nick Scorton. Who in here is a Nick Scorton guy? Big Pickens says the city would go crazy if Walter Nolan was picked. KGK says whoever voted for Scorton needs to explain themselves. Oh, man. Oh, that's funny. S. Blunt says, I could see Howie using next year's pick to move up twice. Anime and Philly Eagle says, you should have had Starks on the other side of the bracket. You know, it's funny you say that. I was thinking about that before I did this. It's funny you say that. I was trying to make the sides of the bracket balanced. I was trying to. Maybe I didn't make it balanced enough. Huh. You guys really like Malachi Starks, yo. He better be a good player the way y'all like him. Sweet Chin Music says, if Nolan is as good as people think, I don't think he'll be an option. I mean, that's not necessarily true. I mean, you know, I've seen so many mock drafts. I've seen Walter Nolan going in the early 20s. I've seen him going in the 30s. I've seen him going like early second round. I've seen him going like 18th or 19th. Like I've seen him going 25th, 26th. It's been very all over the place with Walter Nolan. Very all over the place. I don't think it's an indictment of how good he is, or the other way around. I get it though. KGK says Nolan next to Carter is like Brown next to white person. Brown next to white potential. All right. 32 votes. Walter Nolan by a landslide. Okay. Let's get this ball rolling. All right. All right, here we go. Let's end this poll right here. 33 votes, and Walter Nolan runs away with it with 90%. You know what? No, I'm actually glad Malachi Starks and Walter Nolan are on the same side of the bracket. Now that I think about it, I'm actually glad they're on the same side of the bracket because I really want to see how bad y'all like this. I really want to see how these two guys stack up based off of y'all evaluations. All right, time for our next one. All right, next up we have Donovan E. So we got D. Izuraku. Edge. And we have Josh Connolly Jr. Offensive tackle. Let's just put O-line. Let's just do that. All right. Here we go. Time for our next survey. All right. If you're just tuning in, this is our Eagles draft predictor bracket. I've compiled a matchup style bracket with 8 players that I believe could fall to the Philadelphia Eagles, be it in the first round or if they trade up or if they trade back a pick or two. So as of right now, Malachi Starks was able to beat out Trey Amos. And this is based off of all you guys voting. This is based off of all your votes. So Malachi Starks beat out Trey Amos at corner. Walter Nolan beat out Nick Scorton. And by the way, Malachi Starks and Nick Scorton, those have been Malachi Starks and Walter Nolan, they have won by landslides. They won by landslides. You guys are really high on Starks. You guys are really high on Nolan. You know what? Like I said, I'm glad I didn't put them on different sides of the bracket because I feel like it would have ended up being Starks and Nolan in the end anyway. I feel like the better the challenge is more so the right side of the bracket. All right, we got 25 votes in. You guys have chosen the edge rusher, Izuraku. A lot, actually, out of those 25 votes. Izuraku has 88% of the 25 votes. Make sure you guys keep those votes in. Let's keep those votes in. Our minimum is 30 votes. We got to get to 30 votes minimum. Let me get the Fanny super chat while we wait. Thank you, Miss Fanny, for your super chat. She says between the two Malachis, Starks is not as versatile as Moore. I'd pick Moore over Starks for that reason. Both are good safeties, but versatility is a plus. Interesting. Malachi Moore, I think he's projected to go maybe in the 3rd or 4th round, right? I'm curious why Malachi Moore isn't seen as an equal prospect to Malachi Starks. Why do you guys think Malachi Moore is so far behind Malachi Starks in terms of these draft projections? Do you guys think it's the fact that, okay, Sweet Chin Music says Starks played all over the field? Why do you guys think there's such a drastic difference between Starks and Moore? Michael DeJean says flexibility. Anime and Philly Eagles says because of his measurables. Sweet Chin Music says because he's not nearly as good as him. It has to be more than just that. It has to be more than just that. Let me see. Malachi Moore, 5'11", 196. Malachi Starks, 6'1", 197. So it's the height. Okay, I see that. They both ran the same 40-yard dash time. So it's not the 40. They both pretty fast. Okay, Moore is older. Moore is 23 years old. Starks is 21 years old. That matters to these teams. Moore went up against tougher competition, they say, in his final season. Malachi Moore has better coverage grades. It says here Malachi Moore is better in coverage. Interesting. It says here Starks, he's more of a zone slot nickel safety, can play the run well. Malachi Moore, he's more of a man zone free safety. So I think that's the main difference. One guy can play closer to the line of scrimmage. One guy is more of a coverage guy. So, Starks is really athletic. He tackles better. He probably tackles better. He tackles a little better. He's better in run defense for sure. Way better in run defense. But says here Moore is better in coverage. All right, let's get back to this challenge here. So we got 35 votes in. 86% of you selected Donovan Izaraku over Josh Connolly Jr. Wow. Now I got to ask you guys, why was this such a landslide for Donovan Izaraku over Josh Connolly Jr.? For those of you who selected Izaraku over Connolly Jr. or vice versa, what was your reasoning behind this? Because again, 35 votes, 86% of you guys chose Izaraku, the edge rusher, over Connolly, the offensive lineman. Why? Tell me why. Caleb throws this, says we need edge, not O-line for me. Michael DeJohn says because we need an edge pick. Okay. S. Blunt says position priority for us. Fair enough. Okay. What about you guys who chose Josh Connolly Jr.? Luther Winfield says Stoutland University. All right. Looking for Sasuke. Looking for Sasuke says easy is more versatile to me. And I don't think Josh Connolly can play guard in the NFL. Okay. YNG Biz says we need an edge. KGK. Okay, you did comment earlier on Connolly. Where is it at? You definitely did. I missed it. Here it is. KGK says, not going to lie, I voted Connolly because if we bringing in so many old lineman players this offseason, then that means we need more talent. Donovan would be for depth. Hey, listen, though, if Donovan is as good as we think he is, he may be able to beat out Jalen Hunt. Just saying. But I understand, though. I like Connolly as a player. Like Connolly a lot. Anime and Philly Eagle says we got edge. We got edge rushers already. Smith, Hunt, Uche, Ojulari. Connolly is a beast and can learn on the lane. Okay. Sweet Chin says Uche may not make the roster, though, which is very true. It's possible. All right. So Donovan Izaraku makes the cut. All right. And let's move on to our next one here. You guys are pretty awesome, by the way. You guys are really active in this thing. I really do appreciate it. So in this poll here, this is our last matchup for round one. All right, we got James Pierce Jr., the edge rusher, versus Tyleik Williams, D tackle. I don't think this is as clear cut as it looks. But obviously, we're going to find out soon enough. All right, here we go. Here we go. Just as a reminder, if you're just joining our live stream, we're doing an Eagles draft predictor bracket. So you guys are voting on who wins these matchups here in terms of who the Eagles will eventually draft. So Malachi Starks made it to the second round, beating out Trey Amos. Walter Nolan made it to the second round, beating out Nick Scorton at edge. Donovan Izaraku beat out Josh Connolly Jr. And now we have James Pierce Jr. versus Tyleik Williams. at D tackle. Let's see what we got here. All right, 23 votes. And 79% of you guys are already leaning towards Pierce Jr. All right. Let's see, we got 27 votes so far, 74%, 28 votes, or 29 votes. 76% of the votes are going towards Pierce Jr. Interesting. Michael DeJean says Pierce for me. Stizzy Jenkins says Tyleik Williams is a dog. Andrew says James Pierce Jr. go against Colston Loveland. Double R 1017 says, where's Jalen Walker? Been hearing the Eagles linked to him. I've heard that recently too. But I don't think Jalen Walker's going to fall that far. Like Double R, I've heard the same thing, but I don't think he falls that far. Anime Philly Eagle says Carter needs a running mate because he gets double the triple team. Interior pressure made our defense what it was. That's a good point. Alex says I'm taking Tyleik Williams over James Pierce. 30 votes and 77% of you guys chose Pierce. Why? Fanny says Pierce killed it at the combine. Yusuf Islam says he's going top 10. So, okay, let me ask you guys this question. Do you guys think the James Pierce rumors about him falling in the first round, are you guys buying that? Are you guys buying the fact that James Pierce is going to fall in this draft? Because the more I talk about it and the more I research the player, there's going to be a team that's going to take a chance on him. There's going to be a team that says, listen, I don't care what's going on off the field. We'll figure it out. Because I'll admit, there was a point where I was like, okay, he may fall in his draft because all these mock drafts had him falling. But he's so talented. Some people have him as the second best edge rusher in this draft, if not the best. Some people think James Pierce rivals Abdul Carter. Some people think that. Or at least comes second to him. Andrew says, I don't like a lot of the Ohio State players. Williams is a pure run stuffer. JTT is wildly inconsistent. Jack Sawyer is totally mid. Ransom is a thumper only. Burke is mid. They're really overrated. Interesting. Michael DeJean says, I don't buy it. Sweet Chimmy says, too much smoke screen at this point. S. Blunt says, Williams is more of a nose tackle over 3 tech. Michael DeJean isn't buying it. Carlton Ferguson says he may fall. Caleb believes he'll fall. Sweet Chin says he thinks he'll fall. He's buying it. Caleb says before the season, he was going to like top 5. That means he had talent. True. Sweet Chin says Izaraku versus Pearson is an interesting one for me. So we're getting somewhere. All right. 34 votes and 79% of you guys chose Pierce Jr. over Tyleik Williams. All right, let's take it to the next round. James Pierce. All right. All right. Let's see. Okay. This is our round 2. We made it to round 2. How are we feeling? How are we feeling so far? Mingo! See, that's why I put Starks and Nolan on the same side of the bracket. I knew I made the right decision because I was struggling with it at first. I almost put Starks and Nolan on opposite sides of the bracket. But I felt like if I did that, it would have been too easy for you guys to just go Starks and Nolan. So I'm glad I did this. And Donovan Izaraku and James Pierce Jr., I think that's a conversation. I think that's a conversation. Now, I feel like James Pierce Jr. probably has the highest ceiling. But I think Donovan Izaraku, I feel like his floor is very stable. I feel like his floor is very stable. Huh. This is how are you guys feeling about this so far, man? Sweet Chin Music says if the Eagles have to choose between these two, then I know what's going to happen. So let's make this quick. Oh my God. Yo, y'all are funny, man. Fanny said, this is solid. This is solid. We should have been doing this, right? I'm mad I only figured this out yesterday. I may do this bracket thing more, but as far as a different category, maybe I might do this bracket. It's like an MVP predictor bracket or something like that. All right. All right, time to take to the next step. Oh man, you guys are crazy, man. All right, round 2 has begun. Malachi Starks, safety, versus Walter Nolan, D tackle. All right, you guys. Let's see how much y'all love Malachi Starks. Let's find out. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys for supporting. All right, let's see what we got here. 14 votes, and you guys are going in on Nolan. Wow. 21 votes. Sheesh. So you guys don't like Starks as much as you claim. Huh. 25 votes. 64% of you guys take Walter Nolan. Huh. Maybe you guys don't like Starks as much as you think you do. I know I'm an asshole. I shouldn't have did this. I put y'all in a position. I put y'all in a predicament. I get it. I put you guys in a predicament here. We made it to 31 votes. 65% of you chose Walter Nolan. I'm going to leave this up here a little longer, though, see if it balances out a little bit. Okay, let's see here. We got 84 people on the live stream. Let's see if we can get 84 votes. If you guys are just joining the live stream, we're doing an Eagles draft predictor bracket. We're voting. I'm allowing you guys to vote. I'm allowing you guys to vote on who wins these matchups. As you can see, we're doing this tournament style. Malachi Starks beat out Trey Amos by popular opinion. Walter Nolan beat out Nick Scorton by popular opinion. And Donovan Izaraku and James Pierce beat out Josh Connolly Jr. and Tyleik Williams, respectively, by popular opinion. Only 33 votes. Maybe some of you guys are busy. Maybe your hands are full. Maybe you're driving home. Totally get it. Some of you guys are probably just getting off work. But it looks to me that Walter Nolan is running away with this thing. But this has been the closest This has been the closest vote that we've had so far. This has been the closest. KGK says Nolan and either Winston or Watts in the second would be a hell of a start to the draft. Michael DeJohn says, I would love Walter Nolan and Watts. Isn't Watts that Notre Dame safety, right? Big Pickens says, I think Vic is going to fight for Starks. Fanny says, I pick Starks. Andrew says, give me Walter Nolan and Winston over Starks and JTT. Michael DeJohn says, Howie will pick a D tackle before safety. Big Pickens says, Winston is a great option. Andrew says, Winston is a fine consolation prize. KGK says, I love Starks, but it's levels to this, Tone. I feel you. Stizzy Jenkins says, we like Starks, but we love Nolan. Oh, man. We got 36 votes so far. 64% of you have chosen Walter Nolan. 36% of you have chosen Malachi Starks. Believe it or not, this is actually the closest vote we've had. Mingo says, I think fans are going based off of Howie's pick. We should go based off our own opinion. Double R says, I like Starks, but can't pass up on that Nolan and Carter tandem. Can move up and draft Watts round 2 or sign Simmons. Not a bad thought. As Blunt says, you can get a solid safety later. Winston Jr. or Watts in another round works. Okay. So, I get it now. So you guys, it's not that you don't like Starks or you think Starks isn't a great player. You're looking at it based on value. You're looking at it based on, okay, if I get Walter, you're looking at it like I have a better chance of getting a solid safety later on rather than getting a D tackle that's close to Walter Nolan later on. That's how you guys are looking at it. You guys are just playing the odds. If we choose Walter Nolan, we got a better chance at getting a solid safety than if we chose Malachi Starks and got a solid D tackle on the level as Walter Nolan. You guys just playing the odds. Andrew says, kind of like tight end. Why get a tight end in the first round when you can get a day 2 tight end like a Roy or T. Ferg? Yeah, I totally get it. I totally get it. I totally get it. And that's actually been my mindset a little bit. Now, granted, I do got the Eagles going edge in the second round. I do got that. But I understand your logic, though. Fanny says Nolan won't last until 32 in my book. That's okay, because this is based off of whatever scenario you make up in your mind. Maybe the Eagles trade up a few picks to get Nolan. Maybe they trade up a few picks to get Malachi. You never know. So, this isn't like this draft predictor isn't about staying put at 32. It's about whatever scenario you expect. It's more so about the player rather than the pick itself. So if you think the Eagles are going to jump up and go get Walter Nolan, you vote for him. If you think they're going to jump up and go get Malachi Starks, you vote for him. If you don't think they're going to jump up and get Starks and they're going to be patient, you select Trey Amos, maybe. Let's see. Mingo says, I think we trade up to get Malachi Starks. Double R says Nolan gets to early 20s, we train up. And that's what I'm saying. I think, because I've seen mock drafts where Walter Nolan gets picked anywhere from like pick 20 to 32. I've even seen Walter Nolan fall to the early second round. I've seen that. All right. So 39 votes and 64% of you have chosen Walter Nolan. So it's looking like our guy Walter Nolan is making it to the finals. Malachi Starks made it to the semis, but Walter Nolan beats him out and makes it to the finals. Man, what a competition. What a competition. All right. We're almost there, you guys. We're almost there. All right, who we got next up? We got Donovan E. and James Pierce Jr. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. All right. Okay. All right. Let's see how you guys vote on this one. This one is going to be interesting. All right. Let's see. Wow. I didn't think Easy Rock. You guys, wow, okay. Interesting. I actually thought the opposite. I think Easy Raku's from Jersey, right? He's from Jersey. And James Pierce is from North Carolina, Charlotte to be specific. James Pierce, 6'5", 245. Donovan Izaraku, 6'2", 248. James Pierce ran a 4.47 40. Donovan E ran a 4.62. James Pierce has 7.5 sacks. Donovan E has 16.5 sacks. I'll admit, Donovan E's measurables are crazy. They both have pretty strong measurables, for being honest with you. Both of these guys have pretty. Oh, this is close. Okay. This is our closest vote. Donovan E has the edge at 59%. We got 34 votes in. Let's keep this ball rolling. We got 72 watching in the live stream. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. On top of that, you guys are able to check this show out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can also double back. So shout out to my people who are watching on their own time on YouTube. I appreciate you guys as well. Make sure you guys tune in. Wow, okay. So this has been our closest vote so far. 35 votes in, and Donovan Izaraku has the edge at 58%. All right. Okay. Big Pickens says Easy can play now. He also says Pearson needs a season, maturity mostly. Stizzy says get on the Easy train. We are gonna start. If the Eagles draft him, we definitely gonna start calling him Easy. Andrew says kind of like I don't want Mike Green, even if he's talented. Mike Green has a lot of baggage, I'll tell you that. But this vote is close. Andrew says Carter wasn't a headache. He drove like an idiot. That part. But I mean, everything I've heard about James Pierce has more so been driving related. Jay Philly says, I like Pierce, but to know where his head is, I like Pierce a lot, but to know where his head is if you know what I mean. Pierce has a lot of baggage, apparently. Michael DeJohn says Pierce needs to gain more weight. You know what's funny? Because Donovan E is 6'2", his 248 looks a lot different than James Pierce's 245. You know what I'm saying? Because Donovan Izaraku, he's 6'2", 248. James Pierce, 6'5", 245. So that weight distribution is different. But yeah. Let's see where we are on this vote here. This is close, you guys. We got 42 votes in here. This is close. This is close. I can't end this survey yet. This is way too close. Donovan Izaraku only has the edge 52% to 48%. James Pierce. This is close. You guys see how close this is? We need more votes, man. We need more votes to solidify this because we got 42 votes in. We got over 80 people watching the live stream. So half of you guys need to get active in this voting session here. Because I don't want to make the decision prematurely here. This is the closest vote we've had. Yo, Mingo, you funny as hell. He says, nah, Tone, end it. You didn't give my boy Starks his time to come back. Yo, Starks was getting boat raced. Starks was getting boat raced. Mingo, are you serious? Walter Nolan crushed him. All right, we got 44 votes. Okay. Damn, this is crazy, y'all. S. Blunt says, I look at Pierce and I see a guy who mainly uses speed only to get to the quarterback. Donovan Easy has all types of moves. Yeah, that's what I read. I've read Izaraku has so many moves in the toolbox. He has 17 and a half sacks, 16 and a half sacks. Like Donovan E has 16 and a half sacks, and his toolbox is crazy. All right. 46 votes. Donovan Izaraku with 52% of those votes, man. This is the closest vote we've had. Oh, we're getting close. Oh my God, we made it to 50%. We made it to 50. Okay, 50. Yo, okay. No way. This is getting crazy. This is getting crazy, y'all. This is getting crazy. Oh, the votes are flying in. The votes are flying in now. 51 votes, and no, James Pierce took the lead. Oh, it's tied again. It's tied. James Pierce took the lead again. Oh, shit. Yo, James Pierce is running away. He's getting James Pierce with 52% of the vote. 52 total votes. James Pierce has 52% of the total votes to Donovan Izaraku's 48%. This is crazy. James Pierce is running away with it. He's running away. 54% to 46%. James Pierce is running away with the vote. What's going on? What happened? What happened? Oh my God! What happened? Donovan Izaraku was running the whole thing. Look, you can't vote twice, can you? I mean, you can't vote twice, right? No way. What happened? What happened? What just happened, yo? Is somebody stuffing the ballot? Yo, how many YouTube channels y'all got? One of y'all got like 3 or 4 channels. That's what this is. One of y'all got like 3 or 4 channels, and y'all voting twice. Which one of y'all using 3 channels? Which one of y'all using 3 channels or 2 channels? Some of y'all got 2 or 3 channels. I already know how this thing go. This is I ain't gonna lie, this is crazy. Donovan Izaraku was running the whole thing until like a minute or 2 ago. Damn. This is crazy. We got 81 people tuned in the live stream, 59 votes. 56% of the votes went to James Pierce Jr. Damn. All right, we're gonna. Damn. That's crazy. All those votes definitely came in out of nowhere, though. I will admit that. They definitely came in out of nowhere. But all right, I think we're gonna end the poll. James Pierce. James Pierce, man. That's crazy. That is crazy. Y'all surprised me just now. I didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming. Damn. Y'all just blew me away. Mm. Y'all are nuts. Wow. All right. Make sure I get this right here. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. The final. We're at the final, y'all. Walter Nolan versus James Pierce. Let's get it. We're at the final. Let's see what we got here. If you guys are just joining the live stream, we've made it a long way. We've come a long way. This has been our Eagles draft predictor bracket. We've basically selected 8 players who we believe could be on the board for the Philadelphia Eagles on day 1 of the draft, or even if they trade back a pick or trade up. We have 8 players who we think who I believe could be the option. And we basically set this up bracket style, matchup style. And we allowed you guys, the fans, to vote on who would be the pick, who would win the matchup here. Malachi Starks beat out Trey Amos in the first round. Walter Nolan was able to take out Nick Scorton in the first round, making it to the second round. Donovan Izaraku, the edge rusher, was able to beat out Josh Connolly Jr., the offensive tackle, in the first round. And James Pierce Jr. beat out Tyleek Williams in the first round. Next up, we had Malachi Starks and Walter Nolan in the second round. Walter Nolan wiped the floor with Starks in the second round, moving on to the finals. And James Pierce Jr. ended up beating out Donovan Izaraku, but that was a close vote because the entire time, Donovan Izaraku, based on you guys' votes, he was leading the entire time. Then all of a sudden, we had this influx of James Pierce Jr. fans come in. And James Pierce Jr. had the late swing, and he ended up winning by at least 8 percentage points. So in our final, we have Walter Nolan, D tackle out of Ole Miss, versus James Pierce Jr., edge rusher out of Tennessee. Both of these players are talented. Both of these players are very, very athletic, the top of their class. But who ends up being the pick? We got 38 votes in so far. 66% of you guys chose Walter Nolan. Wow. Mike Jenks says, if you feel like D tackle was deeper than edge, take Pierce, please. That would make sense. Big Pickens says Nolan is the pick. KGK says, like lambs to the slaughter. Mingo says Nolan, but the dog walk James Pierce Jr. Dave Valentine says Walter Nolan all day. 41 votes, too. Wow. Wow. Walter Nolan is running away with this thing. 47 votes, and Walter Nolan already has 68% of them. Wow. Yo, Jay Philly, funny, man. He says culture over character. We seen what happened with CJ, and I love CJ, but I went to Bartram. I know plenty of characters. That's funny. That's funny, man. Big Pickens says, how are we getting a fresh ski mask out the pack? Tiff says Nolan. Michael DeJean says Nolan all day. Wow. 50 votes, and Walter Nolan has 70% of the votes. William Rush says, James Pierce Jr., we need that edge on the ends. KGK says Nolan is actually the best D tackle in the draft. Mason Graham does not bring the same thing to the table. Why do you guys think Mason Graham is so highly rated in comparison to Walter Nolan, though? Why do you guys think that is? Why is Walter Nolan projected to be a top 12 pick, top 12, top 15 pick? What is it about Mason Graham that separates him from Walter Nolan in most people's eyes? What do you guys think it is? What do you guys think it is? Because Mason Graham, he didn't work out at the combine and nothing. Like he knew he going top 10. He like Mason Graham, if you ask him, he's the best D tackle in his draft. If you ask him. And a lot of people think so. But why is that? Andrew says the NFL Stock Exchange has no one going 11 to San Fran. I think we all need to realize it's going way before 13. See, here's the thing. The Nolan stuff has been so confusing, Andrew. I really got to understand. Like the Walter Nolan draft stock has been very confusing because everything I've seen has him going, in the 20s. Like I haven't seen anything about him going in the top 15. Mm. Let's see. Got another super chat here. My man, Sweet Chin Music. He says NFL draft bowl prediction: Walter Nolan is the first D tackle off the board. Ooh, that would be crazy. That would completely ruin my predictions. Completely. Yo, Sweet Chin Music. Hold on to that, but hold on to that prediction. I like that prediction, low key. I like that prediction. I like that prediction. Walter Nolan is the first D tackle off the board. That's bold because that would mean you have him going up against or beating out Derek Harmon. That would mean you have him beating out Derek Harmon. Who else? Let me see here. Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon, Talik Williams. That's bold. That's really bold. All right. I think we're gonna close this thing out. Based off of y'all votes, Walter Nolan is the clear winner. So Walter Nolan. Looks like Walter Nolan is the pick, you guys. There you guys have it. Walter Nolan. That's crazy. That's crazy. He ran away with it too. 75% of the votes. G Fish says, Sweet Chin Music, don't you put that on us, Ricky Bobby. Take that back. That's funny. That's funny, man. No, that's a hell of a bold prediction, though, man. That's a hell of a bold prediction. Sweet Chin says Walter Nolan will be the first D tackle off the board. G Fish comes back, says, don't you put that on us. Man, thanks for the super chat, by the way, you guys. I appreciate it. All right. All right, you guys. How did we do? How did you guys feel about this exercise? Talk to me. Did we nail this exercise? Was it fun? Let me know. Should we do this again, but for different things? How did you guys feel about this bracket style game we did here? Because I'm definitely considering doing it for like different categories or like different topics, be it power rankings or teams we think will make it to the Super Bowl, or I'm trying to think what else. MVP, right? MVP predictions. You know what I mean? We can do it for a lot of different things. All-time Eagles, right? All-time Eagles running backs, all-time Eagles quarterbacks or receivers, or we could really play around with this. So this is pretty cool. All right, you guys. Yeah, we'll do this again. We'll definitely do this again. Big Pickin says awesome. Sweet Chin Music says do it again for sure. Jesus Deleon says just do it again. KGK says I loved it. Caleb says Walter Nolan is linked to the Cowboys and the Niners and is rising up the draft board. All right. Stacey Jenkins says, great show, TD. Love the chat participation. Makes for great content. For sure. I appreciate you guys for locking in, man. Mike Jenkins says, if we skip on Starks, we better take Xavier Watson round 2. Andrew says, stop throwing bear cans at Howie. You guys are crazy. All right. So that's today's show. I appreciate you guys for locking in like you always do. Means a lot, goes a long way. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I'm going to be live tonight. We're going to be live at the link up tonight, featuring Lord Brunson, Simone Stanley, myself. We're going to be doing a mock draft. Hey, I may even introduce this. This exercise tonight. So we'll see how things go. But make sure you guys lock in tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And also, me and Coach Marcus from Pro Fan Talk are going to be going live for the entire draft, tomorrow. So I appreciate you guys. Subscribe, hit the like button. Thank you for the super chats. And it's straight like that. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. And you guys have been locked in on Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.